Hi everyone, welcome to the Crafty Tales. In today's video, we are going to learn how to make a Christmas tree ornament using granny squares. You can make them of any size and they can be used as ornaments for full-size Christmas tree or just a keychain or a back charm. The possibilities are endless. So let's start with it. To make my granny square, I will be using 4.5mm crochet hook, and you can use any color yarn for your Christmas tree. The first step to make a granny square is to make a magic ring. Wrap your yarn around your index and middle finger so that it forms an X on the back side. Now insert your hook into the first strand in front and pull up the second strand. Gently twist your hook, then pull the yarn through. And that is your magic ring. We will start our granny square by making 3 double crochet into our magic ring. In this video, the addition of 3 double crochet at a time will be called as making a cluster. So we will be starting our granny square by making a cluster of 3 double crochet. Once we are done with our 3 double crochet, we will do chain 3. This will again be followed by a cluster of 3 double crochet. We will overall continue this process until we have 4 cluster of 3 double crochet. So here we have our second cluster of double crochet. We will again follow it up by chain 3 followed by another cluster. Once we are done with 4 clusters, we will tighten up our magic ring from the other end. We will close up our magic ring after making chain 3 and slip stitch into the first stitch we did. Now it's time to make row 2. To start with row 2, we will make chain 1 and we will make a cluster in the gap between the first and the last cluster of previous row. So let's make a cluster of 3 double crochet into the gap between the first and the last clusters of previous row. This will be followed by a chain 1, and now we will move to the second corner. Therein we will make a cluster of 3 double crochet, chain 3 and a cluster of 3 double crochet in the same gap. Once we are done with our corner 2, we will do chain 1 and move towards corner 3. Therein again we will do a cluster of 3 double crochet, chain 3 and a cluster of 3 double crochet into the same gap. We will follow the same pattern for the fourth corner as well. To close up our row, we will do a cluster into the same gap we did at the starting of this row. This will be followed by chain 3 and a slip stitch into the first stitch we did. Now for row 3, we will again start with chain 1. And here on for every corners, we will do a cluster of 3 double crochet, chain 3 and cluster of 3 double crochet. Whereas in other gaps, we will only have a cluster. And moving from one gap to other, we will do chain 1. This is the pattern that we will be following for every row now onwards. So let's start by making a cluster into the gap between the first and the last corner of previous row. This will be followed by a chain and a cluster into the next gap. Only a cluster, nothing else. Let's do chain 1 again, and now we will be moving towards corner 2. Herein we will be doing a cluster, chain 3 and a cluster. We will continue the similar pattern for the rest of the row. Let's start with chain 1 for row 4. Again we will follow the similar pattern as previous row. In between gaps we will have one cluster and corners will have one cluster, chain 3 and one cluster in the same gap. Now that we are done with row 4, we will be making one last row, that is row 5 for our granny square. So our 5-row granny square is ready, and now it's time to make Christmas tree. Let's fold the granny square in 2 triangles such that the wrong side is facing us. Wrong side is basically the back side of the granny square we were creating. Once folded, we have to sew one side of the triangle, and we will be sewing the outer loops of the triangle on both the sides. So let's insert our darning needle from outer loop in one side and pull it out from the outer loop of the other side. Let's repeat this step again in the same direction. To make it better, we can also tighten up from the other end. We will keep repeating our steps till we reach the end of the side of triangle. Once done, we can turn over our Christmas tree. The stitches we just sewed in could be visible from outside. And now it's time to sew the base. We will fold the lower outer triangle till the midpoint of our sewed in part and insert our darning needle at equidistance from left side. Opposite to previous time, this time we will sew in inner loops of our stitches and we will sew from our left end to the right end. Once done, we can weave in our leftover yarn and now it's time to make the trunk. For trunk, let's create a slip knot and attach it to the base of our Christmas tree. Add chain 5 to our trunk. From the third chain from the right, make double crochet. There would be 3 double crochet, 1 in each stitch. To close up, make slip stitch into the same stitch we started with and chain 1 and cut off the yarn. After weaving in the leftover yarn, our Christmas tree ornament is ready. So here we are at the end of one more video. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button and comment down your thoughts. We will meet again with the next video tutorial. Till then, happy crocheting and bye bye.